Hey guys, it's Tack from Data 6. This is part 3 of the My Free 318i timing. So it is the Vanos units. So they're going to have the seals repaired in them or rebuilt the Vanos unit. And so with that being said, in the trunk, we're going to be using our Vanos timing kit. This was the Chinese made. I haven't had any engine code pop up, so I think I've got this one set, just how you install it. So I went ahead and ordered 2 the Vanos oil distributors. These are the Teflon coated ones. So we're going to replace those. I've also got the 6 square gasket or square bands, whatever you want to call those things, that go on the intake cam. 2 new chain tensioners, or for the upper chain, and I went ahead and got the Beisan kit. It's all the seals, an extra Teflon ring, the press tool, and he went ahead and threw in a pick kit, even though I told him I didn't need one, but he was a really good guy to work with at Beisan Systems. I called and got the stuff ordered, and 2 days later it came here to the house. And so we're going to just go ahead and rebuild the Vanos units. I went ahead and got a vise installed in the blue building, or the little blue cube that I built that transmission on a couple years ago. So this will be, hopefully this will get everything taken care of, but we'll find out. So we're going to do one last before, so I can get an idea if this corrects the issue. Good. That shouldn't suck in that much air like that. And just like that, it stopped. So I know this is the Vanos unit in question, and this is the one we're going to rebuild first. I mean, we're going to do both before I even put anything back in here, but this is the Vanos unit that I think has the worst seals compared to the Vanos on the other side. So let's start getting it disassembled. Alright guys, so it's been a couple hours and I've gotten this much done so far. I've got the flywheel locked. I'm getting ready to put the cam locks on and then go ahead and start getting these Vanos units taken off, so I go ahead and get them rebuilt. All right, so I've got this much done. I've got the Vanos units off. I've gone ahead and have replaced the upper chain tensioners on both of the sides. I've already done the one oil distributor on this side plus those rings inside, but I've got these off to the side, or the old one. Now that's the old one, and I don't know if you can see where it's worn around that edge where it's all shiny, and why this one is not, I don't know. I got some. Yeah, that's really worn, and that's what they look like new. Now the oil distributors didn't look too bad. They were the one with the Teflon coating, but since I went ahead and bought new ones to put on, I went ahead and put them on there. And I'll get the other side, and then I'll start getting the Vanos units rebuilt. All right guys, so there was something I wanted to show y'all on those rings that are in the oil distributor, and I don't know if the camera is going to pick that up or not, but if you look, there's a notch, and it's almost like there's a lock, and you have to get those in those grooves on the camshaft and then get that lock to go on, and when you slide the oil distributor on, it pushes that close, and then that's the only opening that they have. And I found it was easier to take one end and push it down in the groove, and it shot up like this, and I was able to push the other one down to get it to lock. So I've gotten them all replaced, and they're pretty worn, but the distributors looked okay. But like I said earlier, I just went ahead and replaced those since I'd already bought some new ones. But I'm glad I definitely changed those rings out because they look a little worn down. All right, so this is the second Vanos unit. I've already completed this with the first one, and I learned a few mistakes with that. So if you're going to buy the Beisan unit, make sure you buy the extra Teflon ring, because I kind of messed that one up the first time. But I did learn something a little bit different that I haven't seen on any of the rebuild videos with the Vanos units. But first thing, you know, I've cleaned a little bit of it off. We're going to put our tool in and make sure we've got it turned clockwise to give us a reference point, and we're going to pick this hole right here to make our mark on the unit, so that when we put it back together, we'll have a reference point on where it's supposed to be. We'll mark it there, and then down here before we separate the unit. And then we're going to push that centerpiece out like so. And so we'll practice putting it back in where we get it lined up just right, like so. All right, so we'll go ahead and pull that out, and there's a metal washer that should be down in here, but it's stuck on here, so we're going to get that off and put it back in, because we'll have to use that to push the piston out. Like so. All right, so we're able to pull up that that gear, I guess you want to call it, and we'll go ahead and get the old Teflon ring. That's the old one off the first one, and get that taken out. Now, the first Vanos unit that I did, this fell right out, so I'm hoping that I got it back in like it's supposed to be. They're supposedly balanced, and they have to go back in the way they came out. So there's the Teflon ring. and get the O-ring out, the old one. I found it was easier to find something high and stand and do this than trying to sit down and do it. So I'm out here with it on the smoker. So it smells like turkey. Once I found it more difficult to get this O-ring out than, there we go. Now I broke the other one in pieces. Well, I split it and it came out. So one picks one direction, one's the other. All right, there we go. There's the old one. So for the new one, we want to work that back in there, and there's a lip that you want to get it in. And then start pushing it in there and massage it in, or use the dull side of the pick to work that down in there. Now, the temperature here is supposed to be in the 90s today, and I wanted to get this done before it got too hot, but I thought it was a little too cool to do this with the Teflon ring this morning, so I've got it sitting in the closed car in the sunlight just to keep it a little warm. I just work the pick, or work the ring in. Because there's a groove you gotta put it in, which is right below the plastic ring that's got the timing terminals on it. Just working it in there. Keep the piston up. Like so. There. So it's in that lip, like so, and it's down, and I'm sure I can't do this justice, but it's just right in there. And the Teflon ring has to go in there as well, which has a groove on the inside or outside, and we want it to be right along that new gasket. So what I found when I did the first one was, when I had this up, and I worked it down in there, it kept going past the O-ring. So I found it was easier to install it with the piston down, and I was able to control it from the top and was able to work that in there. So I'm gonna go get that ring and get started. All right, so I was able to see where it needs to go, which is just past that plastic lip. And I use the inside of the pick to just start pushing it in there. And there's going to be a little bit of a crease in this section to get in. But it didn't crease it too much. You don't want to fold it. I'm just using the back side of the pick to push it down. Because once it's underneath that lip, it'll seat right where it's supposed to be. Today's making a liar out of me. This went in a whole lot easier when the camera's not running. There's a lot of videos that say it doesn't matter if you nick the outside, the curved side, because it's going to be up against that rubber gasket, but all right. There we go. It is now in. Moving all the way around. That is putting the Teflon ring in. I'll at least go ahead and show you the press tool. It's threaded at one end, and this is the end that goes in the vise. And there's 3 holes in this, or 3 holes for that terminal. And gotta take this back out. That doesn't get done in the press. So you're gonna line these holes in, and they tell you to tap the terminals in a little bit, not too much. You don't want to break them. just enough to where the tool doesn't hit those terminals. And it snaps down like so. And then this upper part goes down like so. And then the thread goes through, and I've already greased the thread. And then it's a 27mm nut. And then we're going to go set this in the vise, torque it down to 100 foot-pounds, and then do another 360-degree turn. That is a lot of torque. Alright, so I just finished pressing that thing, and I put this back in, and I've checked it with our adjustment tool, and it's tight. It's a whole lot tighter than it used to be. So now we're ready to go ahead and put it back in the car. Alright, so I just finished pressing that thing, and I put this back in, and I've checked it with our adjustment tool, and it's tight. It's a whole lot tighter than it used to be. So now we're ready to go ahead and put it back in the car. Alright guys, so I wanted to share something with you. I didn't want to do any sort of crazy editing. It's been about a week and a half since I started on this video, and I had just finished pressing the new seals in the second Vanos unit, and it was very hot that day. My hands were sweaty, and it started to slip out of my hand, and so I went to grab it with the other hand and pretty much did a volley with it, and it went up in the air and it went down onto the driveway. The gear went one way, the seal went one way, and I had plastic shatter everywhere all over the driveway. And it was all in slow motion. It was always one of those fudge moments. But this is what it looks like. It broke all the plastic around those terminal rings, and they're gone. And yeah, so it was kind of a costly mistake. So I found a used one. It's $160 by the time I got shipping and all done. And since I went ahead and ordered another Teflon ring, and I'll go ahead and rebuild this one just like we did the other two, but we won't drop this one this time. And yeah, you gotta pay attention, and it was quite a costly mistake. But we're hoping to get this car put back together today and tomorrow. So all right, so I've got it all back together. I've checked everything, make sure there's nothing loose. I've got the battery connected, and I'm getting ready to start it. Hopefully this third try is the charm, and we've got the ticking sound, the dieseling sound done. You know, we have rebuilt both Vanos, or resealed the Vanos units, used the press, put them all. Oh, I see a hose. All right, so the battery just died. Luckily I had one in the house to put in place of it, and just as the battery died, I realized I had one of the air lines or air hose going into the air filter, and I believe it's for that pump system. So let's get in and start it up and see if this fixes it. been replaced in the back. So why it's doing that? Oh. And I still have that ticking sound. I checked all the lifters. I have redone the Vanos. I have replaced the Vanos distributors, the camshaft gaskets that were on the end of the intake cam. And it's still making that ticking noise. All the spark plugs are tight. It's right here, just like before. So I don't know what more to do with it. Any ideas, guys, would be greatly appreciated. If I can't figure it out, I'm getting rid of the car. I can't keep doing this, throwing parts at it all the time. No codes came up. Got an oil leak. That's not good. Or I can still pour oil, or that may be where I tripped some, taking the valve cover off. I think that's from where I dripped some, taking the valve cover off. It's right there. Well, I don't know. I don't know more to do. So if anybody's got any suggestions, let me know. Please like, comment, and subscribe. 73.